Peter says, is it a bad idea to start another service area type of business for a different industry using the same address? Yeah, unless you put, I wouldn't do it unless you can add some sort of a like suite number or some sort of a modifier to the street address. Okay, so again, let me pause the screen. I'm going to open up Notepad file. We talk about this all the time too, many times. And so I'm going to reiterate this again. Let's see, who was this that asked this question? Peter? There are 4 data points that Google really looks at for, we always talk about for local projects, NAP, so name, address, and phone number. Sorry, guys, my screen was paused. We usually talk about NAP, right? So name, address, phone number, but really it's NAPW, right? There's name, so that's the business name. So I'm going to say business name. A is the physical address. Okay, so that's the street address, city, state, zip, etc. Phone, this is obviously the business phone number. And then lastly, there's W, which is the website address. You can only have one common data point if it's a multi-location business. I know that's not your question, but I'm getting to a point here, okay? If you have a multi-location business, you can only have one common data point among those 4, or else you can create location ambiguation, which means you can confuse the hell out of Google. Where I see a lot of multi-location businesses make mistakes is they'll use the same business name, which makes sense. It's the same business, no matter which location they're in, right? So it makes sense to have the business name common across all locations. One thing you can do is append the city name as a modifier, as a delineator, a distinguishing element. You can do that, and that's what I typically recommend to multi-location projects that are clients of mine, is that we use the same business name, obviously, but we append the city name for each individual location. But getting back to my point about one common data point, the physical address, it should be unique if it's a multi-location business, right? The business name could be common, but each location is going to have its own unique physical address. The phone number, and therefore, should also be unique. It should have a separate tracking phone number, forwarding number, whatever you want to call it, for each location. And then lastly, the website is usually going to be the same website, but it doesn't have to be the same page, right? So this is the website address, but what I call the LLP, or location landing page. So if you're going to have a multi-location business where the business name is going to remain consistent and you don't append the city name to the business name, then each of these other 3 data points should be unique, or else it will wreak havoc on the ability for the Google business profiles to rank because of location ambiguation. So in other words, you want to have a unique physical address, unique phone number, and a unique landing page address, right? So that's the URL that is linked to from the Google business profile. I call that the location landing page. So in the case of where you're saying, can it hurt to have the same business or a different business, different industry at the same physical address? No, because it should have a different business name, a different phone number, and a different website address. But to make this even more unique, what I would do is add a suite number or something, if possible, right? A suite number, or box number or something like that. So for example, if it was 123 Main Street, you originally, that's the original address, but you want to add a second business location for a different industry, et cetera, there, you're going to have a unique name. You can make the address unique by having business 1 with 123 Main Street, 123-A, for example, right? It could be, 123-A Main Street. Then your second business could be 123-B Main Street. Does that make sense? Then you will still have a unique business name for the new business and a unique phone number, shouldn't be the same phone number, and a unique website address. So you can do it that way. If you have, if it's your address, that your business address, you can always contact the post office and tell them, like, make sure that it's clear with them. I've done that in the past and they've been okay with it. You just got to notify them that you've got 2 different, you're appending a modifier to their business, but both sets of mail, US physical mail, should be delivered to this address, 123 Main Street. Just make sure that the post office is aware that you are adding a delineator to that street address number, because it's for different businesses. You can say that it's just to separate correspondence to the appropriate business. You can say that, and the post office will likely approve it. Hopefully that's clear. So yes, you can do it. I would recommend adding that location modifier, if that makes sense, address modifier, however you want to call it, to make it all 4 of these data points unique so that you don't run the risk of location or entity ambiguation. Hopefully that's clear. Good question.